Welcome back, friends. Let us now talk about historiography in post-independence era. Post-independence means after we achieved independence, what were the kinds of historians and what was their mindset and what different types of historiography was written. See, earlier I told you historiography was based on dynasties or political leadership, etc. But now things changed. Now histories were written on economies, okay, political ideologies, or even sciences, various communities, regional history, and so on. So there was a big addition to the branch of what? Historiography. Many more branches came in historiography. Now, basically we divide historiography in the post-independence period into three parts. One is called as the Marxist historiography, okay. Second is the subaltern historiography, and third is the feminist historiography. Out of which the first two I will discuss today. First is the the Marxist historiography. Now, what you know about Marx, Karl Marx? This I have explained you earlier also. Now, Karl Marx was a famous philosopher, German philosopher, who gave the ideas of communism. Now, in communism, great importance is given to the working class. Working class means the peasants, farmers, workers, etc. And so, this particular thinking, okay, is putting more stress on the working class, and that's why the historians who were following this ideology, which Marxist ideology, they would analyze the impact of every social event, okay, in history. They would give importance to each and every social event, and that was a basic theme behind the Marxist historiography, okay. Now, in Marxist historiography, these historians also studied the transitions which took place in the caste system, okay. As you know, in Indian social structure has got many castes, subcastes, etc. And how the changes took place in the caste system, that was also studied by the Marxist historians. Now, one thing, once again I am repeating, these people would give more importance to what? The workers, farmers, peasants, etc. And so that's why the working class was their main focus. And that's why these Marxist historians were more concerned about the modes of production, means of production, and the industrial relations. Now, modes of production, you can understand what is the mode of production of goods, means of production, and industrial relations. What is meant by industrial relations? The relations between the capitalist or the owners of the factories and the workers. Understood? They would write in the history how were the relations between the workers and the industrialists, how the workers were oppressed, they were paid less, and all these things would be marked and would be written in this historiography, Marxist historiography. Now, I'll tell you the names of some notable historians, okay, in Marxist historiography. The first name is of Damodar Koshambi. Damodar Koshambi. Second is Ram Sharan Sharma. Third is Comrade Shripad Amrut Dange. And the fourth is Comrade Sharad Patil. These four Marxist historians have given a notable contribution to this historiography, out of which Comrade Shripad Amrut Dange was a person who founded the Indian Communist Party. Which party? Indian Communist Party was founded by Comrade Shripad Amrut Dange. Now, why we say comrade? Because in Communist Party, the leaders were given a title, okay, or even the workers were addressed as comrades. Understood? So Comrade Dange, he was the founder of Indian Communist Party, and he wrote a book in which also represents the Marxist historiography, and the name of the book was From Primitive Communism to Slavery. From Primitive Communism to Slavery was the name of the book written by Comrade Dange. All this was about Marxist historiography. Now I'll talk about subaltern historiography. Now, first the meaning. Subaltern means what? The bottommost rank of the people in the society. Okay, the lower class which we address, these people are called as subaltern. Okay, so the history of the bottommost ranks of the people of the society will be called as a subaltern historiography, and the seeds of subaltern historiography are found in Marxist historiography, because Marxist historiography also talks about the workers, the laborers, peasants and farmers, and that's why the seeds of subaltern historiography are found in Marxist historiography. Getting it? Now, Antonio Gramsci played an important role in developing the subaltern historiography. Okay, he was a famous thinker. Okay, and this person, Antonio Gramsci, had played an important role in developing this concept of subaltern historiography. Now, as I told you, according to him, history should be written from the bottommost ranks of the people in the society. Actually, in early historiography, the more importance was given to the political leaders, the rich, the influential, the successful people, but rarely any importance was given to the lowermost section of the society. But in subaltern historiography, more importance will be given to what? The people who come in the bottommost section of the society. Now, the folklores are nothing but the stories or the songs which are going from one generation to another. Okay, these are called as folklores. These are they are considered as an important source of writing subaltern historiography. Okay, the folklores in any community or in any particular lower section of the society. Now, one such person who played an important role was Ranjit Guha. Ranjit Guha played an important role in establishing the subaltern history as an important academic school of historiography. Because of this person, subaltern history became an important branch of historiography. Okay, Ranjit Guha. Now, much before this subaltern history came into picture, there were some leaders, political leaders, social leaders who had given their contribution to subaltern history. The first name I will take is about Mahatma Jyotirao Phule. Now, this person had done a lot for the upliftment of the downtrodden or the people in the lowest section of the society. See, Indian society had some bad things. I'll say bad things because Indian society was divided into 4 classes. The upper class consisting of the Brahmins, then came the Kshatriyas, then the Vaishyas or the traders, and the lowest class was called as Shudras. And these Shudras had to face enormous troubles in the society. They were treated as untouchables. And for years, hundreds of years, these people had to suffer social inequality. They were not given right to education. Forget about education. they were not given basic needs in the society. Okay, and this state of these people, they were called as Shudras and Ati Shudras. This was mentioned in his book. He mentioned about the plight of these Shudras and Ati Shudras communities in his book Gulamgiri. Okay, and he drew attention of the world, of the people in India as well as world, how the women, the Shudras and the Ati Shudras were oppressed, were exploited in the name of religion. Okay, so Mahatma Jyotirao Phule did a contribution in such a way so that these people could get justice, who the Shudras and Ati Shudras, and his historiography can be termed as subaltern historiography. Okay, because he mentioned about the lowest class in our society. Now the next person, a very famous personality, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Okay, now his concept was also similar to Mahatma Jyotirao Phule. See, for years, I told you, hundreds of years, the lower class of people had suffered oppression, injustice, exploitation under the hands of what? Higher class. And that's why there were some leaders who took their struggle and they gave justice to the people. Now, one such person was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. He said that the role of Dalits is very important. According to him, role of Dalits was very important in social as well as in political levels. Okay, and their role was systematically, he said that it was systematically ignored by the nationalist historiography as well as the colonial historians. I repeat, the role of Dalits in the nation building or in the society and in politics was ignored by the historians. Which historians? The nationalist historians as well as the colonial historians. Okay, and that's why he wanted to expose these things, and that's why the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, he wrote about this injustice, okay, done by the historians in his books, and he mentioned about these social classes, the lowest social classes, in his books. He wrote two very important books, and they were, one was The Untouchables. As I told you, the Dalits or the lower class people were treated as untouchables, and that was a social stigma. It was a social stigma. It was a very bad practice, which after independence it was removed. The Constitution of India has removed untouchability. Okay, it is not practiced today. We all are equal. The Untouchables was a book written by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and one more book was written by him also to showcase the plight of the Shudras. Who were the Shudras? Who were the Shudras? And the Untouchables were the two books written by the great personality Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and his main focus was to expose the role of Dalits in the nation building as well as in building the society. Okay, so these were the two important personalities in subaltern historiography, Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, and second was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Welcome back, friends. We move on to the last topic of the chapter, historiography, Indian tradition. The last topic is about feminist historiography. Now, for a long period, for a long duration, history was written by men. Okay, it was a male dominated branch, and as you all know, Indian society was male dominated, right? And so the writings of those historians were specifically based on what? achievements and the role of men. Women were totally neglected. Understood? And so there was a need to highlight the achievements and the role of Indian women in history, right? And that's why feminist historiography came in picture. Now, the most important challenge in front of feminist historians was to expose this idea that women's role was totally neglected in Indian historiography, right? And that was the biggest task in front of what feminist historians. They wanted to expose the drawbacks of male historians. At the same time, they wanted to focus on the achievements of women in history. Okay. Now, there was also a need to compile the writings of great women in history. Okay. And also, there was a need to rethink women's position in history. Okay. I repeat once again, the role of and achievements of women in Indian history was neglected. Reason I told you, most of the historians were male, and in a male dominated society, the achievements and accomplishments of women were not mentioned in books of history. Secondly, there was a need to highlight this fact, and that's why the women historians made this mindset that the drawbacks of male historians should be exposed and the achievements of women should be focused. At the same time, there was a need to compile and study all the achievements of the woman, and also there was a need to rethink the position of women in history, in Indian history. Okay. Now, the foremost name which comes is Tarabai Shinde. Okay. She was a historian of 19th century CE, and she in her books attacked the male dominated society. Okay. Also the male dominated social as well as caste system. Not only in society, even in caste system there is domination of what? Men. And this particular fact was criticized by Tarabai Shinde. And the book she wrote in 1882, it was published. The name of the book was Sri Purush Tulna. Sri Purush Tulna. Now, what is the meaning of Sri Purush Tulna? Comparison between men and women. That book was written by Tarabai Shinde in 1882. Okay, Sri Purush Tulna. Next, we also talk about a book written by Pandita Ramabai, and that was published in 1888. In 1888, Pandita Ramabai wrote a book, and the name of the book was The High Caste Hindu Woman. The High Caste Hindu Woman. Actually, in those periods, whether it's high caste or low caste, all the women had to suffer the domination of men. Okay, so in her book, The High Caste Hindu Woman, she has mentioned about how she had to face difficulties in getting education or any other field. Okay, now this feminist literature is concentrated on certain issues. The recent feminist historians are writing on which topics that I am telling you. Firstly, it is about the issues of employment to the woman. The feminist literature is based on certain topics. First is the issues of employment to the woman. Secondly, the treatment which is given to the woman at places of work. Now the things have changed, but years back the women were given secondary treatment. Okay, and these things are mentioned in the feminist literature. Also, there was no political status for women. The political leadership was not given to women, it was reserved only for men. So there was political inequality, and so these historians mentioned about the right to political equality in their writings. Okay. Now, some recently published books of feminist historiography that I will mention. The first one I'll talk is about the writer, famous writer Meera Kosambi. Now, she wrote a book, Crossing Thresholds, okay, and it contains feminist essays in social history. It contains the essays on life stories of two very great women, Dr. Rakhmabai, who was the first practicing physician or lady doctor, and second was Pandita Ramabai. You must have heard of this name, Pandita Ramabai. Okay. I repeat once again, Meera Kosambi wrote a book in recent years, and the name of the book was Crossing Thresholds, Feminist Essays in Social History, in which she has written about it contains essays on the life of two very great ladies in history. One is Dr. Rakhmabai and second is Pandita Ramabai. Now, feminist historiography also had some historians who wrote about the plight of Dalit women in Indian society. Now, imagine if the high class women were subjected to exploitation or inequality. What was the plight of the Dalits? And so, there were some writers, some historians who wrote about the life of Dalit women, and one such lady was Dr. Sharmila Rege. And in this book, Dr. Sharmila Rege, the name of the book was Writing Caste, Writing Gender. Okay? And Writing Caste, Writing Gender, reading Dalit women's testimonies. Reading Dalit women's testimonies. And in this book, this lady, Dr. Sharmila Rege, has included essays on autobiographies of Dalit women. The autobiographies which were told about their life of Dalit women, they have been included in this particular book, Writing Caste and Writing Gender, written by Dr. Sharmila Rege. So the important names you remember here, first of all I told you about 19th century, Tarabai Shinde, she wrote the book Sri Purush Tulna. Then Pandita Ramabai wrote the book The High Caste Hindu Woman. Then Meera Kosambi wrote the book Crossing Thresholds, Feminist Essays in Social History. And Dr. Sharmila Rege wrote the book Writing Caste, Writing Gender, reading the testimonies, reading Dalit women's testimonies. Okay. Now let's read all these things on the board. Feminist historiography. The main points you remember: the male scholars involved in writing of Indian history and who neglected the role and achievement of women. There was a need to highlight this fact, okay, and that was a major task in front of women historians. There was a need to study and compile historical writings of women, and also necessary to rethink the woman's position in history. In 19th century CE, Tarabai Shinde was foremost in writing about women. She attacked the male-dominated society and caste system. In 1882, she wrote the book Sri Purush Tulna. In 1888, there was a book written by Pandita Ramabai and was published under the name The High Caste Hindu Woman. Now the feminist literature concentrated on certain issues: the issues of employment of women, the treatment meted out to them at workplace, and the right to political equality. Now some recently published books and their names and their authors. The famous historian Meera Kosambi wrote Crossing Thresholds, Feminist Essays in Social History. Okay, and it contains essays on life stories of two very famous women like Dr. Rakhmabai and Pandita Ramabai. Dr. Rakhmabai was the first practicing lady doctor of India. Now, literature on Dalit women has also great importance in Maharashtra, especially in what Maharashtra. Dr. Sharmila Rege wrote a book, Writing Caste, Writing Gender, Reading Dalit Women's Testimonials, which includes essays on autobiographies of Dalit women. Let's talk about some famous historians who have also contributed to Indian historiography, and they had written history by a particular mindset or a particular ideology. Okay, they had followed a certain ideology and they had written historiography. And some of the famous historians are Sir Jadunath Sarkar, Surendranath Sen, Riyasatkar G.S. Sardesai, and Trimbak S. Shezwalkar. Okay, these four names you remember as famous historians who have contributed to Indian historiography. Sir Jadunath Sarkar, Surendranath Sen, Riyasatkar G.S. Sardesai, and Trimbak S. Shezwalkar. Now, the most extensive contribution to Indian historiography, okay, in modern times of modern India is by two historians, very important, Yashwant D. Phadke and Ramchandra Guha. Put this in your mind. The most extensive contribution to Indian historiography of modern India was given by these two historians, Yashwant D. Phadke and Ramchandra Guha. Now, if we compare Indian historiography with European, there is some difference in it. Okay. Now, Indian historiography has been greatly influenced by what? Social and political movements. Getting my idea? What are social movements or transitions took place or political? These influence the Indian historiography. Only some part of Indian historiography is developed outside the influence of these movements. Okay, so that is all about Indian tradition of historiography.